Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today is a very special episode where I introduce you to one of my amazingly brilliant long-term clients who is absolutely killing it in the e-commerce industry. And she has been using email marketing as a key part of her strategy for the past couple of years. So I'm excited to share with you some of the insights in this episode. So I would love to introduce you to Hangatu Wyld. She is the dynamic founder of The Salty Fox, a business specializing in Apple Watch bands and with a keen focus on women who were underserved in this industry. Based in regional Victoria, Hangatu skillfully balances life as a mother of two young boys with the demands of managing a remote team in Melbourne. Since 2015, she has been immersed in the world of e-commerce, leveraging her extensive experience to create a brand that not only enhances the individuality of its customers, but also prioritizes exceptional customer service, top-notch product quality, and an intuitive website experience. And I can absolutely back up those claims. She is such a detail-oriented, high-quality focused person, and you will absolutely hear that in this episode. You will also hear all about her top insights on email marketing for e-commerce and what she recommends every e-commerce business should be doing. So listen in to hear why Hangatu believes email marketing is essential to a business growth, why they have used Klaviyo as their email marketing software of choice, what she thinks about the fear of sending too many salesy emails, and her top tips for getting the most out of your Black Friday promotions, plus so much more. This episode is literally littered with so many gold nuggets of wisdom. Plus, she really opens up about her entrepreneurial journey, the challenges of remote work and parenting, and really the dedication required to build a brand that stands out in a competitive market. So if you are an e-commerce business, this is a must listen. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Hi, Hangatu. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, awesome. So I absolutely love working with you, of course. We've been working together for like a couple of years now, which is crazy. So I've gotten to know your business a little bit, but there might be quite a few people who haven't heard of the Salty Fox, especially if they're not in the Apple Watch world. So before we get stuck into all that email marketing, can you tell me a little bit more about how the Salty Fox began?
Well, I'll go back to, I think it's something like 2012-ish, even though the business didn't really start until 2015. Yeah, I know, right? I was working as a marketing coordinator. I was working for an e-com brand, and I had some really big ideas about how I could do e-commerce differently. Like I was obsessed with website UX. It really felt like common sense to me. And it was just crazy that other businesses, particularly small businesses, they didn't get it, or they didn't care enough about it. And like I know now that the real issue was that it wasn't just expertise. Small business owners were just struggling to keep their heads above water and may not have even had the time to focus on things like website UX. But at that time, as a young person in their 20s, I was like, yeah, this is so easy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to smash this. And I wanted to do the fun stuff. I wanted to make decisions. I wanted to set strategy. I wanted to take risk. I wanted to get all of the credit. And I just didn't want to wait to make business cases and to wait for different levels of approval just to move pixels around the screen
Yep.
on a
You just
thing.
wanted to get in there and do
I
your
wanted
own
to
one.
do it all. I wanted to do the big things. I didn't want to have whip after whip with the marketing manager about what I was doing that day and that week. I wanted to be talking about the big goals and the big picture. I wanted to use all the jargon from my marketing degree. And I was pretty jealous of my boyfriend at the time's lifestyle. So he's my husband now, but at the time he was my boyfriend. And he was a consultant, and he still is, working in digital advertising. And, he was that real cliche, making money, laptop on the beach. And I was like waking up, going into the CBD to work every single day. So like he was just living this lifestyle that I just was like, I have to have this. But I was a marketing coordinator. Who's going to hire me? Who's going to take on me as a consultant? They're not going to do that. I didn't have the expertise. I had to.
Maybe in a different world, because that's probably similar background to me, and that's where I go. So
that's what
you chose e-commerce.
I felt like I couldn't. It was just a lack of confidence, and I think that's sometimes as a young woman you might feel that you don't have the skills or the expertise to be able to do that. Because he was previously working for Google, he could walk into any meeting, any pitch meeting, and it was easy for him. For me, it's harder. I'd have to work for that. So in my mind, I had to make my experience. I had to make it and create it for myself. So that's where the Salty Fox began. But it started really as a focus on cufflinks and a focus on men's accessories. It wasn't about Apple Watch bands. Apple Watch bands was part of the ecosystem of men's accessories. A whole bunch of things to finish off a man's outfit. So I needed a product that was small, easy to ship, not brand sensitive, and wasn't going to be very hard for me to be able to source. So the barrier to entry was going to be very low, easy, cheap for me to start up. And the real focus was just going to be on getting that marketing mix right to be able to sell.
Literally, your purpose behind it wasn't initially to sell this thing. It was you were on the lookout actively for a problem to solve and a product that suited your criteria.
Yeah, I wasn't given the opportunities to run an e-commerce business in the way in which I wanted to. And so for me, the focus was marketing and e-commerce. It was all about the work. And I guess the product itself was probably secondary, but for me, it was solving a problem which I had at the time. I was getting married. These were all things that I was sourcing as part of when I was getting married to Sean. Obviously, his engagement level was very low in terms of sourcing cufflinks, sourcing ties, sourcing those socks and things like that. And these were things as a bride to be. I was very obsessed with it looking and fitting. How sad now, but looking and fitting a certain aesthetic, right?
Well, so I can see that now. If that aligns with your user experience, priorities. You're very detail oriented.
It had to fit the look. So and all the websites that I went to, I mean, some were good, but we're going back to 2014 here. Some of the websites were good, but a lot of the websites were not very good at all. And the user experience on the websites was terrible. The after-purchase experience was terrible. Being able to source products was really difficult, or to find what you were looking for was really hard. So I was just wanting to create a business around solving all those problems within the network of my problems that I was experiencing at the time. So I went into the cufflinks and I was like, this is going to be big. And then as time went on, it became clear from sales data, from customer inquiries, that I had it completely wrong about who my customer was. I walked into this thinking I was selling to men, and it turned out I was actually selling to people buying for men.
Yeah.
And so primarily that was women. And that was women who were sort of within that 25 to 45 sort of bracket. And those women, they were buying for men, but they actually wanted to also buy some stuff for themselves. So they were reaching out to us independently, saying, I really like this Apple Watch band that I got for my husband, for my dad, for my brother, for my cousin. But I'm just wondering, do you have something that's not as chunky? Does it come in a rose gold? I've got these really masculine styles, but I was just, you're sourcing these products. Are you able to get something that sort of suits me and my outfit a little bit more? There aren't any Apple Watch band retailers in Australia at that time that were servicing women. I think there was round about the same time as us, there was about one other, and it was also primarily just for men. So women were really pretty much left out. And I thought, well, that's pretty crazy. I can't be a party to this. So I thought I'm just going to do a complete 180. And the business had been going on for a few years. Sort of, it was doing okay. But when I focused on what we did well, and the really bare basics being the stuff that sells and more of the stuff that sells, and just get rid of all the other crap that we were selling, that's when the business really took off. So 2018, I would say probably things pivoted and focused more on Apple Watch bands. 2019, we just really knuckled down on that. And then 2020 hits, COVID comes, and that's like the death nail for any product that wasn't something that was a big seller for us. So any other product then outside of Apple Watch bands was gone, because any other retailer would tell you it was almost impossible to source stock. It was impossible to get stuff here. People were very nervous about how they were going to spend. And I just, as a business, nervous about how I was going to spend my money purchasing stock and getting stuff in. I only wanted to spend it where it made sense. So I had to be a bit smarter about how I spent my dollars. That's a really long-winded way to say, now this is why I'm selling Apple Watch bands and why we focus on women primarily. I mean, we do sell across all genders, across all ages, but the people who really have supported us from the very beginning until today have been an army of women who look almost identical to me, and they've been an incredible support, and I'm so grateful to them, because the business I had back in 2015, I'm embarrassed almost about the emails I was sending, about the
everyone
product I was sending, the packaging I was sending. I hope, like, you only have to, if you go to some of our most popular products and scroll back through customer product photos, you might actually find some awful skeletons in my closet.
That's the same for everyone. And gosh, yeah, so much gold there. And we haven't even touched on email marketing. But I do love particularly how you said, you're focusing on the data, you're focusing on what people were telling you about their, what they wanted. And that's where you focused your energy. And even though you have a heck of a lot of products, you still really streamlined your focus. People know where to go for your stuff. And you have been, it's been going really, really well. So since then you've really taken off. I'm not sure how much you want to share in terms of the scale.
No, I'm totally fine. Because I guess what we used to make in an entire year, we now make in a month, purely just from a change on the focus on the product we sell, really niching down on our customer. And it's not just words, right? We're talking about understanding our customer and having that information color the type of photography we do, who we're targeting in our digital advertising. So I'm talking about our Meta ads, our Google advertising, who we're speaking to when we're coming up with the copywriting on our website, right? So it's the same person on our product pages as is on our on the emails that we're sending out, in the ads and in the captions. It's all the same, and we try and keep a very consistent flow throughout all of those things. So each of those touch points, you're not going to be losing people along the way, because in Instagram we're talking to them like we're a girly best friend, but then on the product page we're some sort of marketing bro, and using different sort of jargon. Gosh, where was I? What was the question?
No, I think we got there. Yeah, the idea of saying, selling more in a month than you were in a full year.
Oh yeah, how we grew. Oh yeah, so I was just working by myself. So now there's about 7 people working in the business full time.
Wow.
So that's a huge change. It was initially started in my kitchen. I was just using the spare space in our pantry. We now have a huge to me warehouse in Williamstown North. So, and it's just enormous. And sometimes I do have to pinch myself. There's an office now, and it's really pretty, and it's like a nice place to work. I like to look around, and I like, as much as I love Katie and Stacey who've just joined us, I don't know if they would actually come and work for the business that we were before, because the office was so ugly at that time. I think they would have been scared away.
But I love it. And absolutely, people listening here, I'm sure we've got tons of, e-commerce store owners at various stages listening.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're now like, just, yep, this is ultimate goals. This is where you want to get to. But we also want to bring it back and say, I guess, that sometimes it is just these simple things. You don't need to be doing, all the big things necessarily to be a success. It is just, okay, starting with those next steps, streamlining, focusing on those key things for you. And I guess bringing that back down to the good stuff, email marketing. Yeah, I'd love to hone in on, I guess, that particular strategy so we can put in some really actionable steps. And my very biased, goal of this is to be able to help people see the value of it to their businesses. So as I said, we've been working together for almost 2 years.
Yes.
I'm curious, actually, I can't even remember if I asked you, or I just cannot remember. What made you reach out to me back then? Like, what had you excited about email marketing and being like, yep, this needs to be a priority for me?
Oh my God. Yeah. Your podcast. I was listening to you.
Oh, really?
And yes, I binged you for a period of time. And I was like, this woman gets it. I hate it when people have advice, but the only advice they have for you is this wishy-washy, almost like a motivational quote. Mm-hmm. Give me examples. Actual examples that you can point to of what you're talking about. You had examples. You had step-by-step points. You were like, this is what you need to do. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. Step 3, do that. I get that. You just had actionable steps that you could take. And at the end of the podcast, I was like, yeah, I know what I need to do. It wasn't like this wishy-washy, you just sort of talking about the theory of marketing and how important email marketing is to businesses. We all know that. Everyone should know that. It's important to your business. But you explained why it was important, and then you told solopreneurs and small businesses and small to medium-sized enterprises how they can actually use those techniques to be able to push their own businesses forward. In particular, I think, the sort of putting up a lead, right? The little lead pop up on your website to be able to get emails, right? I've never been able to explain to anyone exactly why it was actually important to do that and what it meant to people. I just knew that was something that you were supposed to do to get emails. But your podcast around that really explained the reason why and the need for having that 10%. Well, we had like a 10 and 15% sort of discount code, but other people would have different, especially like service businesses would have some sort of like product that they would create or something that they would download in order to do that. And it just made sense to me. And I was like, I need this woman in my business. She understands email better than I do.
That wasn't a call for trying to get all compliments on their podcast. I guess I was trying to kind of gather the idea of why, I guess, email as well in particular, why you identified email marketing as like, yep, that's something that I need to do, or did I purely just brainwash you?
No, you maybe did brainwash me. I don't know, but like I really genuinely feel that email marketing is a solopreneur or a small business's best friend. If you do not have a marketing team, your Klaviyo will be your marketing team for you. If there is a FAQ that a customer is having on a regular basis that you are seeing in their emails, that's coming up over and over again when they're asking questions on the product page, then you need to have an email about it. You need to do a blog about it. Yes, it needs to be on your socials, but you actually need to think about having a regular flow that goes out to your customers that also answers one of those questions. For us, being that we service customers who are most likely, in many cases, when they are new customers, they're also new to the Apple Watch. And so they have some areas they may not understand about how to use their Apple Watch, how to change their band. And so we address that with our welcome flows when they sign up. And we address some of those concerns and fears that they may have around why they may or may not choose to purchase with us, but also some of the questions that they may not have answered around how to actually go about working out what is their size. How do I change my band? How do I resize this band? We make it as easy as possible
easy
for them
to make a decision, but
do
also
it all
helps
for
you
you. All
customer
you've got to
service
do.
time.
All you have to do is just sign here. You don't have to do anything else. We've even got the link to the product for you. You press here.
Beautiful.
Make it nice and easy. And that's the same thing, like as I was explaining to Katie, go and have a look at your Google Analytics and the analytics in your Shopify store, because most likely if you're a product-based business and you're a small business, you probably have a Shopify store. Go and have a look at the average amount of time people spend on your website. It is surprisingly low. You will be so shocked. Do you think people sit there, they have hours to just scroll through stuff? No, it is minutes, and it is seconds before they decide whether or not they're even going to stay. Most people who are going to bounce and leave straight away, they do it within like a few seconds. And on average, you're only going to have like a few minutes of people's time on your website. So you have to ask yourself, if someone's got, like, say, for example, if they've only got 3 minutes on average they're spending on your website, how are they going to spend your time? How easy are you going to make it for them to make that purchase? How many clicks do they have to do to find out stuff about your product? How many times do they have to scroll down the page? How many paragraphs do they have to read? I prefer bullet points. But if you're putting things in paragraphs, how many do they have to read to get that information? And you have to do the same thing with your emails and your flows. And it's not just enough just to have like an abandoned cart flow. That's easy. Shopify will do that for you within, and it's embarrassingly easy. What you want to do is you want to think about, well, how can I use my email flow? I'm going off on a tangent here, but
no, we're actually getting onto the next kind of thing, which I was going to say. Looking back, I think we started with only 3 flows. Like there was an abandoned cart, there was like a welcome email, something else. I can't remember that one. But now we have like 14 on last count, like flows for all different things. So I guess so what would you say of those, what has had the biggest impact? What do you think has helped you? And I guess impact can be measured in many ways, in terms of sales or in terms of just making your life easier.
I say, which specific flow has had the best impact
flows,
for us?
or just think about the changes and in terms of implementing email marketing as a whole, rather than just doing that bare basic, okay, I've got an abandoned cart and I'm sending like a promotion here and there.
There is just so many things that email marketing, turn it off for a month and then see how many sales you make. It's the lifeblood of our business. So just having it there is huge for us. The flows that we have running in the background, I would say probably have had the most amount of impact in the business, because what they do is they allow us to, as a business, you spend so much money driving traffic to your website, and the cost per acquisition is quite high, but not every single person who comes to your website purchases, right? So if nothing else, if they leave their email address, well, then you have a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance and a fifth chance to convert that into a sale. So our flows, I would probably say, are the things that have really been incredible for us, because they allow us to be able to capture those abandoned carts, those people who have maybe just come to the website, so that I guess the browse abandonment flows as well too, and allow us to not only nurture those people, answer any questions, but just convert those people into sales and allow us to be able to grow as a business and not have to work as hard to bring in traffic and hope that they convert that day or remember to come back to our website at a later stage.
And even going beyond, the minimum as well. So I guess if I was to share one example as well, even just the welcome email side of things. So everyone's like, we need to send a welcome email, and yet we need to deliver that coupon code. From when we began to where we are now, like the welcome sequence is like 10 times more revenue per recipient, just because you're putting in the effort and sharing the things, which is just like crazy to me.
It's pretty insane, but I just like little things like adding in adding in the the discount code with the dynamic, adding in a dynamic discount code,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so it
And yeah, adding in
expires.
a dynamic discount code which expires, right? So yeah, Shopify tells you to add in a discount code sometimes, but when you add in the expiry date, well, then you give yourself a reason to come back into their inbox and then apply a sense of urgency. Because if you just gave someone a discount code with no end date whatsoever, you're just opening the door up to them sitting upon thinking about it for the next 30, 60, 90 days. They're never going to purchase then. So if you sort of really need to sort of nurture those leads while they're still warm.
And I guess that's one of the key features of Clivio, which you don't get with everything else. What made you choose Clivio at the beginning? Because we get people who are very much like, I don't know if I want to invest in something that's a higher price point than just like a MailChimp or a MailerLite. They kind of just, or trying to find the free software that's out there. What made you go with
I was actually with MailChimp first because MailChimp had the better free option, I think, at the time. And
it has changed.
Casting our mind back to 2015. So if we go back into our time capsule, our time machine, 2015, MailChimp was cheaper at that time. So it made sense to use. Now I'm burping all over the joint. Made sense to use MailChimp at the time, but over time, the connection with Shopify and MailChimp is not as optimal as what it is with Klaviyo and Shopify. MailChimp, even a couple of years ago, was having to do some workarounds in the back end to be able to maintain a consistent connection between Shopify and MailChimp. I'm sure that that's all resolved now. But at that point in time, we were on the fence about switching to Klaviyo. I found that I really found that the flows and the data and being able to the segmentation as well too in Klaviyo was, to me, felt quite superior. But I don't keep a constant eye on exactly what MailChimp is doing. So someone working at MailChimp right now could be saying, no, we're exactly the same. We do everything the same. But
no, they don't have dynamic codes. They don't have still not being able to segment between people. And it depends on the websites as to how much stuff you can get from the store in terms of filtering by collections and things like that. Or if that, the dynamic content blocks. So I guess another great feature is like the dynamic product feeds where you can choose products from certain collections, or you can choose based around what someone's looked at or haven't looked at, or you can filter down to different things. That just this extra level of detail. Definitely it is the superior one. But I know it's just worth, I thought I'd ask the question, about just to see where your head's at with it.
Well, the other thing too that
get obsessed with this question.
The other thing too that Klaviyo has is that they tend to, they've done more work around connecting with Shopify apps. So more apps. And if you're a small business with no developing team, more Shopify apps collect with Klaviyo rather than MailChimp. That's just the truth. And so this means that when you are implementing, like, say, a wish list system or a customer loyalty program, that it's more likely that the system you are already using, Klaviyo, will be able to send emails through Klaviyo for whatever app you've just installed onto the website to be able to get this functionality. And then you can have a beautiful, cohesive look on all those touch points with your customers, and not just have some emails from your wish list app and some emails from your customer loyalty app and some emails from your review app and everything looking like a dog's breakfast. And it's a work in progress for us.
It's always because if people haven't quite realised, we've got an ideas woman, always wanting to add new things or new strategies, testing new things, but that's the beauty of it. It's like, okay, we can put that in. It's got an integration. Boom. Okay, we'll add that. We'll layer that into the strategy. How does that play with everything we've already got set up? So we're not, bombarding people too many things at once. How is that? Yeah. So we'll always be doing stuff. It never ends. Sorry to give everyone that news.
There's
And I
always
feel
some
like
new idea.
I feel like I'm always emailing you late at night asking you what you think about this random new app that I came across that I think would be really good for us. And I feel like I'm also abandoning things just as quickly as I pick them up as soon as I come across a snag that goes, nah, it's not going to work. Nah, get rid of it. Nah, let's move on.
Yep, move on. Okay, beautiful. Okay, different change of pace.
Yes.
Because I would love this is something I get feedback a lot from with e-commerce stores and with everyone in general, is that this fear around sending too many emails, being too salesy, and I guess even with e-commerce more so than the service-based businesses, like service-based businesses and coaches and consultants, etc., can kind of fall back a bit more on helpful content. But it's more than all for e-commerce stores to be like, it's more sales focused because it is buying things, you get repeat customers. So I'm curious if you've had mindset issues around sending, those sales emails and the volume of them, and how you overcame that.
I have to say, okay, I'll go back to what my issues were. In the beginning, I think it was just a fear of being too much in people's inboxes, people coming back to me and complaining and saying you're emailing to me too much, and me feeling like I had nothing to say at all to people. But ultimately, the numbers don't lie. The more you send, the more you sell. And if you disappear from people's inboxes for months at a time, and that's happened to me because I've had babies. So when I had children, I fell off the wagon in terms of my ability to be able to handle the marketing solo. And when you just disappear and go AWOL on your customers, sure, when you send that email again, there's an uptick in sales, but gosh, you missed out on like 3 months of really good, strong sales. You just left money on the table. People will not get upset at you. We experience and see thousands of different types of advertising all the time, and we don't complain about any single one of them. If I don't want to see your ad, I will just scroll past it in my inbox, and if I never want to see your email again, I will unsubscribe. If you start to see a huge increase of your spam complaint rate, then sure, you can reduce the amount of emails that you're sending, or maybe rethink the types of emails that you're sending, or maybe how clickbaity you are with your subject lines. But emails are the absolute lifeblood. It's the only way that you can stay top of mind with your customers. I'm not saying that it's free, but it's sure as hell of a lot cheaper than Google AdWords and Meta. And if you are not sending emails, man, like once a week, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay. I love that. So preach my language there. And I guess, the key takeaway there is, yes, you've got your emotions and you can have your feelings about it, but numbers, they don't lie. So if in doubt, look at your numbers. Look at the numbers and go with what they tell you. Obviously, you need to send emails to have some numbers, but give it a go.
It's so true. And it's the same thing like when Katie started with me and she was sitting down next to me and we were sort of doing emails together for the first time. And I think, she was very concerned about ensuring that that email was absolutely perfect. And I think she laughed when I was like, they don't care, just make it let's write something, but let's just get it out there.
Email can feel like it doesn't have to be as polished, as professional. Yes, we still want to have that brand aesthetic and have your values and come across as you, but it's only that small group of people who are seeing it. It's not forever out there on the internet necessarily. So we definitely don't need to stress about that side of things. And I guess one more point that I do have on the e-commerce versus these other things and being too salesy is that people aren't dumb. If they sign up to an e-commerce, if they sign up to get a discount code or they check a box that says, yes, I want to see your products, then they know that's what they're going to get.
100%.
Not sitting there going, oh, I'm getting tips on something. It's literally I'm signing up I want to see what you got.
Yeah. I mean, I'm subscribed to Country Road, Witchery, Chic, all those ones. And they send every day they send emails. And they those emails are they're just catalogs that they send out. But they send them every single day and clearly it must work. Yeah. So I kind of feel as if as small business owners, we think that people are we think that people are going to be harder on us because we're a small business and somehow we're holding ourselves to a different standards. But if the large organizations feel that it's perfectly fine to be able to pop up in someone's inbox on such a regular occasion, then I don't see why it could not be any different for any other business.
Yeah. Love it. Oh gosh, I could talk to you so long about so many things, and I've already had to like cross off a couple of things off my to-do list because I'm just like, oh, this is so good. But one thing I would really love to hear from you on, because scarily it's coming into peak time, e-commerce sales, Black Friday, all of those good things. So do you have like just like one really quick or solid tip about for e-commerce store owners coming into this sales time, whether they participate in Black Friday or not, or it's just that Christmas is their big thing, whatever it is, do you have something juicy, some insight?
Yep. Okay. I have a few. Your offer has to be really, really good. Don't come to me with your 10 or 15% off discount code for starters. So your offer has to be decent. I know that there are some businesses that don't want to participate. Obviously, this podcast set is not for you. But for businesses that are interested in being able to get the most out of Black Friday, then what you have to do is you've got to nurture people beforehand. So you need to be in people's inboxes July, August, September, October, and then in November, right? Yeah, and then in November, I think as a courtesy, you probably suggested sending an email out to people about wanting to know whether or not they wanted to be a part of the campaign. So offering them an opt-out, right? Know that customers are fully expecting all businesses to have a Black Friday sale. So the expectation from customers is that you will be emailing them. Do not send them just one email. You need to send them like 2 or 3 emails a week. During this entire time, you need to have an offer and you need to start it early. Don't do it on Black Friday. That's crazy. You need to start your Black Friday sale, maybe not November 1, but you need to, at the very least,
I do remember you last Black Friday being like, okay, we've got everything scheduled up. We're going to start on such and such a date. And then you were like, no, I had to start like early because people were already doing things early. So I just had to go.
I got caught.
Like,
I got caught out. I had to pivot hard with that one because all of my competitors and everyone else was starting their Black Friday sales November 1. I think November 1 is probably a bit too early, but within the first couple of weeks of Black Friday November, within the first couple of weeks,
it's Black November
of
now. It's
November, you need to have the sale started, and then you need to be in everyone's inboxes all the time. Your entire website needs to have all of the messaging about the Black Friday sale. Oh my God, if you just have a banner on your homepage, you are doing it wrong. You need to look at getting, most Shopify themes have got like a banner that goes across the entire page. It goes across the very top of the page, that little scroll bar thing. You need to have the Black Friday offer up the very, very top of your website. And the reason being is everyone makes that mistake believing that everyone lands on their homepage. They do not. People, especially if you're doing Google AdWords advertising, people land on product pages. People land on collection pages. We make the mistake to think that everyone's journey starts on the home page, but it actually doesn't. For a lot of people, it starts on a collection page or product page. So that product page has to become your home page. You obviously can't have a big slider banner like you would on your home page. So that means that little banner up the very top of the screen, that thing is like gold, and it lets people know about sales and offers. You need to have a countdown timer on your offers when it comes to things, because I'm telling you right now, people don't look at the date that sales end, but they look at timers. They know it's counting down. So all the emails that you send, you've got to let people know it ends at this time on this day, no extensions. This is your last chance. What else do you need to do? You need to let people know exactly how much they're saving. So if there's some massive discounts, you've got to put like stickers. You have to envelop the spirit of JB Hi-Fi when you're running this sale. Yellow tickets everywhere.
Except not as yellow, but not blended in. Yeah.
So I think it's really important that you create a sense of urgency within yourself, that the language you use within your emails creates a sense of urgency. But please don't apologize to your customers for running a sale, and don't be worried about people who purchased the day before your sale was running, that they're going to miss out and be upset. So what? A few people will send you an email, and if you have that kind of relationship with them, then you can give them a discount or you can refund them the difference. But I promise you, people won't be upset. So yeah, email, annoy them, get in their things, because people are expecting it. And if you don't, what will actually happen is that the customers that you have that are the most loyal to you will actually hold off purchasing under the belief that there is a Black Friday sale coming.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Especially if they know, you've done it before, and a lot of things. And I do that myself. I'm like, okay, it's coming to October. It's like, oh yeah, I might start. What are the things I want to get for Christmas, or what are this and this? And I'll be like, oh no, I want to wait for the Black Friday sales. I think, last year I was literally, for Christmas we got the kids an above ground pool thing. And I'm like, no, I'm waiting for Black Friday. I'm waiting for Black Friday.
I'm waiting. And and that's the thing, like, you miss out because you have to think don't look at your competitors necessarily and say, oh, well, they're not doing it, so I'm not going to do anything, because in reality, around Christmas time, your direct competitors are anybody with a retail business, because you are fighting for share of wallet, right? And everybody has a certain amount of money that they can spend. And if they've spent all November 1 through 14 on Black Friday sales that started at the start of the year with someone else, there's nothing left for you on Black Friday day. It's the end. So yeah, I think you really just have to get your butt into gear. That said, I didn't take my own advice like 3 years ago. So,
Yeah, but you've learned.
I've learned now.
Okay. Oh, there's so much good stuff in there. And so much just gold dust for e-commerce store owners that, I reckon this might be an episode they listen to a few times just to, get those little bits of knowledge. So thank you so much for joining me.
Okay.
I guess maybe we'll wrap up with thinking, okay, so what's next? Like as we said, email marketing isn't done. What's next for you?
With regards to our email marketing?
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, what's next is, because we're a business which is maturing, right? We've been pretty lucky in that we've had some key spots in our history where we've experienced exponential growth.
Mm-hmm.
But with growth comes that plateauing sometime. So it's important for us to be able to regroup and look at new ways that we can expand and grow. So some of the things that are on the table for us are looking at expanding into new locations overseas. We're already selling internationally, but being able to house that stock in an overseas warehouse and being able to ship direct or deliver directly from there, because the hope for me is to be able to provide all of our customers, regardless of what country they're in, the same level of service that we offer to our Australian and New Zealand customers. Fast turnaround on delivery, fast returns, that kind of thing. So what's next? Look, I would probably say we have to go back through our emails and apply a level of consistency with the look and feel that I think a lot of people feel is a preserve of very large organizations with big marketing teams and big budgets. We've put on a lot of add-ons and extras and bits, and I want to make sure that we are sort of now looking at what works, getting rid of what doesn't, and then making what's there just look as beautiful as we possibly can.
It's this process. Yeah, it's always this process of you put things on, and then over time things get a little bit messy because you're adding in new ideas, you're adding in new things, and it's like, okay, now we've got to just come back, review, come back in center, and it's this constant flow.
But I think that's basically it. I think I just, and as a business owner, I think I'm probably in this phase now where I've got 2 young children, and they're getting to an age now where they're becoming keenly aware of the fact that I am working and that I'm a working mother, and I want to make sure that that's not their only memory of their childhood. I would like them to be able to have experiences with me that aren't based around me having to take time away from work for them. So I guess probably a focus for me going forwards is creating a work-life balance for myself and my children and my family, and just seeing my team grow into beautiful human beings.
It's the dream. And
yes,
it's amazing. So again, thank you so much for joining us. I will have all your details and links like in the show notes so people can check out your website and see how beautiful it is.
Sorry, I cut you off. I was going to say we need to give a discount code for all your listeners.
Oh, are we going to do the whole special discount code for listeners? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Are you crazy? Okay. Of course we're going to do this. All right. I'm just thinking of this right now. So let's give 15% off to all of Yale's customers. Why not? So we're just going to say that the discount code is Yale15.
Okay.
No, actually, why don't we make it like, you know what? If you listen to Yale, you get 20% off with us. Boom.
Oh gosh. Okay.
What do you want to do? Do you want to say 15 or 20, Yale?
It's up to you. It's your business. And we can edit this part out.
No, you know what? We'll say 15. I think this is because what happens is it's not a dynamic code. It will end up on it'll end up on an aggregator.
Possibly. So, you can cancel it eventually. You know.
No, I don't, because it lives up on your thing forever. So we'll say for all customers, well, not customers. So all of Yale's beautiful listeners, thank you so much for listening to her podcast. And from our family to yours, I would like to welcome you to the Salty Fox tribe with 15% off with us. Just type in Yale15 at checkout. Thank you.
And what's the website? We've got to give them that.
thesaltyfox.com.au.
And we'll put the link in the show notes and all of that. Oh, beautiful. See, business top of mind. And not scared of your discount because got the systems, we've got everything in place.
No way, 15%, that's completely fine. I mean, that's something that I'm happy to give to first-time customers, and that's, so it just means that, I think it'd be lovely to be able to be a part of your wonderful podcast, and it's the least I can do.
No, and it's the least I can do for you, with all the work we've been together. It's been a pleasure. Alrighty, and with that, we will say goodbye.
Wow, let me just say, how good is Hangatu? The way she talks about business is just so inspiring, and there were so many gold nuggets of wisdom in there. In particular, I really loved her insights on allowing the data to guide strategy and using that to combat any sales mindset issues that you may have. Also, her tips around Black Friday and really about you have to get in so early are so valuable. So if that is you, and you're planning on doing something for Black Friday, get started now. Make sure you've got your plan in place. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, Hangatu, and your generous offer of a 15% off discount to our listeners. So as a reminder, the code listeners can use is Yale15, so it's YAEL 15, to claim that discount and to see what a brilliant business Hangatu has. Head to thesaltyfox.com.au. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Please let me know over on Instagram. I'm at Yalkione, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honour that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.